Thank you, Mr. Linder. And I thank you all for coming here today to honor us for this wonderful occasion, this wonderful achievement that our journey has led us to here today. I started Scouts at the early stage I could, Bobcat at that time, and have Lion back then. And I still remember clearly being held upside down for my badge. As you may not know, you'll be upside down until you did a good turn. This is something that carries on throughout our scouting career, doing a good turn daily. And maybe it was all the blood rushing to my head that may remember that. But that was the start off to what I remember as my scouting career. And from there, I started in my first pack in Mississippi. And then later, in the third grade, I moved here to pack 121. And for about 2 years, I was here. And then my den that I was with at the time at pack 121, they had all left, and I was faced with a choice. I could either, go down to a lower age group, or I could find another pack to join. And I joined pack 797. And in that den, I met many of the boys who are now on my patrol today and continue to follow the path and be on this path that I have gone. And from there, we crossed over to the troop, and we crossed over and received our Air of Lights in February of the year 2020. And we had a little bit of a very short break, and we went to an introductory meeting right there in March 2020. And that's where I want to start at the beginning of my and the other members of my patrol's journey in the troop. And there, right from the beginning, was Mr. Eskridge. So Mr. Eskridge, would you please come up at this time. Mr. Eskridge has continued along this journey with my patrol and with the troop, helping us on, always finding ways where he can help us, even after going the extra step of volunteering in the troop, as very many of you up here and out there have done. He goes even further to find out what he can do for us, to help us to continue along this path, to help us to reach this, the achievement of the Eagle rank. And in that March of 2020, there was some disruption. And it changed our troop, and it was a great bit of adversity that we had to face, but much, and our patrol has remained here, and many of them are now Life Scouts and working on their Eagle project. And it's just great to see all the people who have begun on that trail and continue all the way here with me, and to watch them go as I have gone as well. And I remember the first camp out I went on as a member of the troop was the virtual camp out that I did in my backyard. I did that back there with my family and my dad and my brother and my dog. And I continued on, and once we were able to come back, I remember also doing Eagle Court of Honors outside at McFarland Park. And I've been to many, many Court of Honors, and I often have been the one to read and light the candles for the I Am the Eagle. And when they got to first class, I remember I was first class at the time, and they said, "You are now learning the basic skills." And I was like, basic skills. I've been here for a while, I know what I'm doing. But then after that, I've spent lots of time as a star and life scout, and I've learned that there's so much to learn right here, and that though there may be more ranks 4 versus to the 2 and 3 here, there's just so much to learn even further as you get along the journey. And I applaud my fellow patrol members and my troop members for being able to continue along that with me. One of the things to earn the ranks, you don't just get them handed to you. You have to earn them through different requirements and merit badge requirements. And I used to joke that I needed to get Eagle before Eli and Nano at the time were out, because then Mrs. Leonhardt would be gone, and that would make it a whole lot more difficult for me to get to where I am. So, Miss Leonhardt, could you please come up at this time? So, Mrs. Leonhardt has always been a very great help in providing a plan for me along all the things that were required and I needed to achieve, and always being a calm voice at all the things that I felt needed to happen. She was there just to lead me on in a straight line to show me what needed to be done and how it was to be done. And so I continued on, and one thing that I always wanted to do was be senior patrol leader, because I really always looked up to that role when I was a younger scout, and I thought that I could do well in that role as well. And while I was in that position, I learned even more than I had learned outside, because I think when a person is in a position of leadership, as I had not known before, you learn from the people around you more than you learn yourself. And you think the leader will be the one teaching others. And though that may be often true, it is necessary for the leader to learn from his fellow peers, and in my case, the scouts around me. And for my last mentor pin, I have a third one for Mrs. Rachel Bailey. If you could please come up this time. I wanted to give Miss Bailey a pin because she's always been such a cheerful voice and brought so much joy to the troop, and always been so helpful, and the cheerful service is such an important part of scouting. Well, and I would like to thank all the leaders here today, my fellow scouts, Mr. Flowers, Mr. Linder, Ms. Bailey, Mrs. Leonhardt, Mr. Dar, Mr. Eskridge, and all the leaders that have gone before me.